All right, let's talk about shade. So many people see a shady spot in their garden and just give up. They think it's a dead zone where nothing will grow except maybe some sad looking moss, but that's just not true. Honestly, a shade garden can be the most peaceful, lush, and interesting part of your entire space. It's where you get the textures, the deep greens, the subtle colors. It's a different kind of gardening. It's less about screaming loud annuals and more about structure, foliage, and quiet, long-lasting beauty. What we're going to go through today are the real workhorses, the ones you plant once and then pretty much just enjoy year after year. These aren't fussy, dim plants. They're the reliable friends of the garden, the ones that fill those tricky spots under trees or along north-facing wall and just get on with it, looking better every single season. Forget thinking of shade as problem. Let's start thinking of it as an opportunity to grow some of the most elegant and resilient plants out there. These are the ones that have truly earned their keep in my own garden. First up, let's talk about the absolute king of the shade garden, Hosta. Everyone knows them, but not everyone gets them right. The one mistake people make is planting them in bone-dry shade under a massive thirsty tree. They're shade tolerant, not drought proof. They need that moisture to really plump up those incredible leaves. Honestly, give a Hosta consistently damp soil and it's one of the easiest plants I've ever grown. You'll often see the big, tough varieties used as ground cover in old municipal parks because they're just so reliable. Most people don't realize the flowers are actually edible. They taste a bit like peppery lettuce leaf, and the bees go absolutely bonkers for them. You'll see these massive bumblebees just diving headfirst into the trumpet-like flowers midsummer. Don't just think of them as slug food either. Bit of gray or wool pellets around the base when they first emerge makes all the difference. Get big, blue leaf, one like halcyon or blue angel, and watch it glow in the dappled light. It's game changer. Okay, next is Astilbe. If Hosta is the king of foliage, Astilbe is the queen of the bloomin'. A shade garden, those feathery plume-like flowers, they just float. They bring a softness that can be hard to find in shady spots. The big failure note with these is the same as with Hostas. They cannot handle dry soil. They'll tell you immediately. The leaves will crisp up at the edges and the whole plant just looks miserable. Plant them somewhere that stays naturally, like near a downspout or in a low-lying area, and they will reward you tenfold. A practical tip I swear by: don't deadhead them. After the color fades on the plumes, leave them be. They turn this lovely rusty brown and provide fantastic structure and interest right through the winter. The birds, especially little finches, will often perch on them. Most people don't realize that the name Astilbe actually means without sheen, referring to the fact the leaves aren't very glossy. A bit of an odd name for such a standout plant, if you ask me. I find the deep red varieties like fennel are just stunning against dark green ferns. Now for a foliage superstar, Heuchera or coral bells. Honestly, if you want color in the shade without relying on flowers, this is your plant. The range is just staggering. You can get them in deep purples, lime greens, fiery oranges, and almost black. They are the perfect plant for the front of a border or for containers in a shady courtyard. One thing people often get wrong is planting them too deep. The crown of the plant, where the leaves emerge from, needs to be sitting right at or even slightly above the soil level. If you bury it, it's very likely to rot. I learned that the hard way. A great little fact is that they're native to North America and are incredibly tough. You'll see them clinging to rock crevices in the wild. The delicate bell-shaped flowers that give them their name are a bonus. They hover on these thin, wiry stems, and hummingbirds absolutely adore them. It's a real treat to watch hummingbirds zip between the tiny bells. They're pretty much evergreen here, so they give you that splash of color even in the dead of... Here's one you might not know, but you should. Brunnera macrophylla or Siberian bugloss. It's often sold under names like Jack Frost or Looking Glass, which have this incredible silver frosted foliage. In the spring, it covers itself in these tiny, intensely blue flowers that look just like forget-me-nots. Bees absolutely lose their minds over this stuff in April. It's one of the first proper nectar sources to appear. The most common mistake is people titty it too much. It will sell seed gently, not aggressively, and those seedlings are gift. Let them fill in the gaps and you'll have stunning, weed-suppressing carpet of silver and blue every spring. Honestly, for the amount of impact it has, it asks for almost nothing in return. You'll see it used in old, established gardens under massive rhododendrons where it just thrives in that dappled light. The contrast of those delicate blue flowers against the big, heart-shaped silver leaves is just perfect. It makes the whole dark corner of garden feel alive and bright. It's a plant that really punches above its weight. A bleeding heart. Dicentrus speculites. This is pure nostalgia for me. It's a classic cottage garden plant, the kind you'd see in your grandmother's garden tucked away in shady corner. The flowers are just so unique, those perfect pink or white hearts with little drop underneath. They're one of the first big, showy perennials to emerge in spring. The key thing to know, and the one thing that catches new gardeners out, is that they are ephemeral. That means after finish flowering in late spring or early summer, the foliage will start to yellow and the whole plant will die back to the ground. It's not dead. Don't panic and dig it up. Just make sure you have something else planted nearby like hosta or fern that will grow and fill the space as the bleeding heart goes dormant for the summer. Most people don't realize that all parts of the plant are toxic if ingested, which is why deer and rabbits tend to leave it well alone. It's beautiful, graceful plant that has fleeting moment of glory, and that's what makes it so special. Let's look at Pulmonaria or lungwort. This is another early spring hero for the shade garden. It's one of the very first things to flower, often when there's still a chill in the air. The flowers are fascinating. They often open pink and then change to blue as they age, so you'll have both colors on the plant at the same time. This is the brilliant signal to pollinators. The newly opened pink flowers are full of nectar, while the older blue ones have already been visited. It's a little traffic light system for bees. The foliage is the other big selling point. The leaves are typically covered in these lovely silver spots and blotches, so even after the flowers are gone, you have this interesting textured ground cover all season. The big mistake is not giving them the Chelsea chop. After flowering, if you cut the old flower stems and any tatty-looking leaves right back to the base, the plant will reward you with fresh, beautiful flush of new spotted leaves that will look good right up until the first frosts. It's a simple job that makes huge difference. Now we need to talk about texture, and for that you can't beat ferns, specifically the autumn fern Dryipterus erythrosora. While many ferns are lovely, this one has a special trick. The new fronds emerge in this incredible coppery pink or bronze color in the spring, which looks absolutely stunning against all the fresh greens of other shade plants. As the fronds mature, they turn a deep, glossy green, so you get this two-tone effect for a good chunk. Honestly, it's one of the most beautiful sights in my spring garden. Unlike many perennials, this one is semi-evergreen or fully evergreen in milder climates. This is so important for winter interests. When everything else has died back, you still have the structure and texture of these arching fronds. The one thing to remember is that they hate being disturbed. Find a good spot for it with moist, humus-rich soil and just leave it alone. They take a while to establish, but once they do, they are incredibly long-lived and trouble-free. They provide such a wonderful ancient woodland feel to a shady border. Here's a plant that I think every single garden should have, shade or not. Hellebores, the Lenten rose, they are just unbelievable. They start flowering in the dead of winter. We're talking January, February. You'll have snow on the ground, and these incredible cup-shaped flowers will be pushing their way up. The resilience is just off the charts. The flowers are so valuable for any tough, early waking queen bumblebees looking for meal. Little known fact is that the petals aren't petals at all, they're sepals, which is why the flowers last for so long, months in some cases. The one mistake people make is cutting off the old leathery leaves too late. The best time to do it is in late winter, just as the new flower buds are starting to emerge from the ground. This tidies up the plant and, more importantly, shows off the flowers to their best advantage. They aren't fussy about soil and will happily live for decades. You'll see huge, established clumps in old churchyards, which just goes to show how tough and long-lasting they really are. Finally, let's talk about a grass for the shade. Not many people think of grasses for shady spots, but Haconcloa macra, or Japanese forest grass, is the exception. And what an exception it is. This isn't an upright, spiky grass. It has the soft, flowing, cascading habit. It looks like a waterfall of green or variegated gold, depending on the variety. It brings movement to the shade garden. The slightest breeze will make the whole plant ripple and sway. Honestly, it's mesmerizing. It's perfect for softening the hard edge of a path or spilling out of a container. The one thing it demands is moisture. It will not tolerate drying out. You'll see it used to perfection in Japanese-style gardens, often planted in huge drifts under maple trees. A great tip is to plant spring bulbs like snowdrops or crocuses underneath it. The bulbs will come up and flower before the grass leaves out, and then as the grass grows, will hide the dying bulb foliage. It's a perfect partnership. The color of the Aureola variety is best in partial shade. In deep shade, it can revert to green, and in full sun, the leaves can scorch. Get that lighting just right, and it will glow.